So today's practice is the first class or part in a three-part series that I'm offering here on YouTube on Sankalpa. Now, Sankalpa is often described or defined as an inspired intention. And yet it's different than many of the intentions that we set or resolutions that we make, particularly at the beginning of the year. Oftentimes our resolutions that we set, the goals that we create, the intentions that we have are really rooted in fear and lack, right? It's like we make these intentions based on not feeling good enough or maybe feeling like too much of something, instead of a sankalpa, which is really rooted in who we already are. So, to quote yoga teacher Kelly McGonigal, a Sankalpa practice starts from the radical premise that you already are who you need to be to fulfill your dharma, your life's purpose, or your soul's purpose in this lifetime. All you need to do is focus your mind, connect to your most heartfelt desires, and channel the divine energy within. So a sankalpa takes on two forms. The first is that heartfelt desire. And from there, we can kind of create a statement that affirms that heartfelt desire. So that can be one form of sankalpa. The other form of sankalpa is the vow or commitment that we make. So the actions that we'll take that really embody that heartfelt desire. So the second form is informed by the first form. So if we break down the word itself, the Sanskrit word sankalpa, kalpa means vow or commitment, and san means connection to the highest truth. So a sankalpa is a vow or commitment that we make that is in service to the highest truth. Now, discovering our sankalpa really is this process of deep inner listening. Okay, so how do we know what our sankalpa is? Well, the Vedic system has this kind of these three stages that are laid out as far as like how we get to our sankalpa. And so that's what we're going to be exploring in these three classes. So that first stage is Sravana, and that's what we're going to focus on in our class today. So Sravana, I'm going to quote Dr. David Frawley because I think he describes this so beautifully. He says, Sravana is an inner state of listening where the mind is silent, receptive, non-reactive, allowing it to access a higher level of communication and learning. And it's in this state that we are connected to and can hear our deepest heartfelt desire that is inspired by our higher truth. So our intention for this class today is to quiet the reactive mind and to attune to subtle internal communication, breath, sensation, intuition, and wisdom by practicing listening without fixing or judging. So it's important to remember Sravana is not effortful attention. It is a relaxed, receptive presence, and that is what we are connecting to in this class. This class is also from an asana perspective, so from the movement perspective, it's really about turning inward. So it'll be a vata pacifying class in that it is pretty slow. We're staying pretty low to the ground. It's really about turning in and listening. For this practice, I'm going to encourage you to have 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, that's okay. You can make do without them. And for some of us, we might not want the 2 blocks, but I will cue with them because I think it's really helpful. So we are going to start seated in our centering practice. And I encourage you to sit up on any prop that feels, helps for your hips maybe to be a little bit higher than the knees, or for you to find a nice tall aligned spine. So find whatever you need. If you don't have anything, or you just want to sit on the ground as I am doing here today, and you can just sit on the ground in any pose that invites in ease in your body. And so take a few moments here to really settle into your seat. You can rest your hands heavy on your knees or thighs, and from here you can close your eyes completely, or find a soft, still, slightly downward cast gaze. Really arrive without doing anything to improve the moment. So instead of trying to focus, just allow your attention to soften and widen. And before we really get into our practice, I want to share with you a poem from Martha Postlethwaite. This is called The Clearing, and I just feel like this poem just so beautifully embodies the spirit of this practice today. Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is your life falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world so worthy of rescue. So right now, as you sit, I invite you to really start to notice and listen to the sounds of the room that you're in. So maybe it's the buzzing of a fan or a light. Maybe it's the sound of kids playing or dogs barking outside your window. Maybe it's just the sound of my voice. Just listening for all of the subtle sounds, the obvious sounds, and then beginning to bring attention inward. And here I'm going to invite you to notice the sounds that are present within your own being. Perhaps it's your breath. Maybe it's your heartbeat. Just really listening. Observing without judgment. Without creating story. just listening and observing. From here, I'm going to invite you to bring attention to your breath. And we'll start to cultivate what is known as Ujjayi breath. And we practice Ujjayi breath by finding a very gentle contraction in the back of the throat. It's the same action we create when we whisper or when we're gently fogging up a mirror. And so we allow the breath to filter in and out through that space in the back of the throat, becoming slightly more audible. And it's actually just slightly more audible to you. So we're not breathing so loud that if we had somebody next to us, or if we do have someone next to us, that they can really hear our breath. This is more of a subtle internal sound. We find that in both the inhalation and the exhalation. Allowing the breath to settle into a smooth, even rhythm. Just listening to the sound of our own breath. We want to maintain that Ujjayi breath if possible, breathing in and out through the nose so the lips are together. We want to try to maintain that breath throughout the duration of our practice and just allowing that to be the anchor for our attention. Continually practicing to attune our attention. And to really practice deep inner listening. So maintaining an awareness of your breath, go ahead and softly open your eyes. And we'll make our way to hands and knees. So finding tabletop position. And wrists can be directly below the shoulders or slightly in front of the shoulders. Hips can be right below, or I'm sorry, knees can be right below the hips or slightly behind the hips. So take a moment here to find what feels good. If you need to pad your knees, please do. And we'll just set the foundation for our posture here. So really grounding down through the hands, kind of gently pushing into the ground so we feel that sense of stability in the arms and in the shoulders. And again, just taking a few moments here to reconnect to your breath and that internal sound. And then we'll add some movement to that breath. So on your inhalation, belly drops towards the earth, tail and crown reach to the sky, finding cow. As you exhale, tail and crown reach towards the earth. Inhale, opening up through front body. And then exhale, drawing inward. Inhale, open. And exhale, curl in. Okay, from here, we're going to add on. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curling in. We're going to kind of keep this rounded shape Inhale, sending the hips back towards the heels. And then exhale, come forward into your cat. Inhale, open up into cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, hips back. Exhale, hips forward. One more time through. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curling in. Inhale, hips back. And then from here, I'm going to invite you just to soften the elbows, soften your forehead. Forehead can either rest on the ground or hover above the ground. Maybe you want to bring a block underneath your forehead. Just taking a few moments to really drop in to this posture. Once again, attuning to the sound of breath. Perhaps noticing where in your body your breath is needed. And so we just observe. Are there areas of tightness and tension? Can we direct our breath into those spaces using the power of our awareness? So even if we can't physically breathe into some of those spaces, can we energetically breathe into those spaces using our attention? We'll take one more breath here. And then we're going to stay in child's pose, but you're going to walk the hands forward just a little bit more. So now you're in a little bit more of an active child's pose, extended child's pose. Grounding down through the palms of the hands. On your next breath, inhale, rock forward into a modified plank pose. And then exhale and lower to your belly. From here, we're going to come onto the forearms in Sphinx. So elbows are underneath the shoulders, forearms about shoulders width distance apart. We're going to ground down through the forearms. We're going to ground down through the tops of the feet, through the pubic bone, so that we find just a little bit of length through the lower back, through the low belly, gazing forward. Take another full breath in here. And then we're going to go into what I call spinal rolls. So we're going to draw the chin in towards the chest. We're going to lift the ribs, and we're just going to lift the belly. So we're just kind of rounding through the upper and mid back. And then inhale, opening back up. Exhale, we curl in. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, lower your chest, bring your palms to the ground. Inhale, we'll push up to all fours. And then exhale back either into child's pose or this time downward dog. And just take a moment in your downward dog. If you want to find a little bit of movement, find your movement. Maybe pedaling the heels or gently wagging the tailbone side to side. Maybe shaking out your head, yes or no. So just taking a few moments here. And then when you're ready, settling into stillness. Now the knees can stay pretty deeply bent if needed. We want to stay really grounded through the hands, hips reaching back away from the fingertips. Just letting your eyes settle on one spot. And then on your next breath, go ahead and step or walk your feet up to the top of your mat. Taking your feet about hips width apart and parallel to one another. As you inhale, find a halfway lift, so hands can come to the shins or even the thighs. Exhale, we'll come into a ragdoll forward fold. So generous bend in your knees, drape your upper body over your legs. We want to kind of keep this rounded shape, so keeping the knees slightly bent. Really anchor down through your feet, push your feet into the ground, and roll up one vertebra at a time. Good. And then as you stand up, go ahead and draw your shoulders up to your ears and exhale, roll them back and down. We'll do that a couple of times. Inhale, exhale, and one more. And exhale. Good. Now this is where we're going to use our blocks. So you can take those blocks to the top of your mat. Blocks about shoulders width distance apart. You can stand behind those blocks about 6 inches or so. And just take a moment, once again, feet parallel, feet pointed straight forward. We're going to release the arms down by our sides, finding Tadasana, mountain pose. So taking a moment here to feel that sense of ground beneath your feet, to lengthen through the crown of your head. We'll take another full breath in. Exhale, join your palms together in front of your heart. We'll take just another breath. So again, listening to the breath, cultivating that ujjayi breath if it's available to you. That gentle contraction in the back of the throat. And then on your next breath, inhale, sweep the arms outward, upward, reach. Exhale, hinge and fold forward, hands to the blocks, head to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we'll move the blocks back, step the right foot back. And then from here, as you inhale, lower the right knee down. Just kind of gently push into the blocks, gaze straight ahead. As you exhale, lift your back knee, kind of push a little bit more, maybe straighten just a little bit through that left leg. We're not fully straight, but we're going to round. We want to think cat pose here. Inhale, knee drops to the ground, gaze straight forward. Exhale, we lift that back knee and curl it in. Inhale, knee to the ground. Exhale, lift the back knee, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the ground. And then from here, we'll move the blocks to the side. And left knee meets the right knee. As you inhale, hips back, slide your hands forward, find your extended child's pose. Inhale, rock forward into a modified plank pose. Exhale and lower to the ground. Rising up onto the forearms, find your Sphinx. Inhale, rooting down, gazing forward. Exhale, we're going to curl in. So just find that spinal roll. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Inhale, open. Exhale, lower the chest, lower the hands. Inhale, we push up. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Again, settling into stillness. Take a few breaths, let your eyes find that still point. So finding that still gaze also helps to soothe the fluctuations of the mind. So steady gaze, steady breath, listening to the sound of your breath. And then next breath, inhale the knees to the mat. Exhale, step your right foot forward. So right ankle underneath the knee. We'll grab those blocks again. Inhale, push into the blocks, gaze straight forward. Exhale, lift that back knee, straight-ish right leg, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the floor, gaze straight forward. Exhale, lift the back knee, straighten through the arms, curl it in. Inhale, knee down. Exhale, lift the back knee, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the floor. We're going to walk those blocks forward and then step forward with the left foot. As you inhale, find your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Soften your knees. Root through the feet. Inhale, curl it up. Maybe just a little bit faster this time. And then exhale, release the shoulders. Palms rotate forward, Tadasana. Take a full breath in. Full breath out, palms join together. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, blocks back, left foot back and lower to the ground. Inhale, push into the blocks, gaze forward. Exhale, lift the back knee, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, lift the knee, curl in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, hands to the ground. Right knee meets the left. Inhale, hips back. Exhale, just pause. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale and lower. Rising up onto the elbows. Inhale, push down, gaze forward. Exhale, spinal roll. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, open. Exhale, lower the chest, lower the hands. Inhale, we push up. Exhale, downward dog or child's pose. Settle in, find your drishti, that steady gaze, steady breath, just listening. Next breath, inhale, knees to the mat. Exhale, left foot forward, grab your blocks. Inhale, push into the blocks, gaze forward. Exhale, lift the back knee, curl it in. Inhale, knee to the floor, lift the chest. Exhale, push down, curl in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, lift the back knee, curl it in. Inhale. And then exhale, walk the blocks forward, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Softening through the knees. Inhale, push into the feet, curl it up. Exhale, Tadasana. Pause, take a full breath in. Exhale, join the palms. We're going to take one more round here, each side. So on your next breath, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, blocks back, right foot back. Inhale, lower the knee, lift the chest, gaze forward. Exhale, push down, curl in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, lift and curl. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, blocks to the side. Bring that left knee back. Inhale, hips back, hands side forward. Exhale, just pause. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, lower. Rising onto the elbows, inhale. Exhale, spinal roll. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, spinal roll. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, spinal roll. Inhale. And now exhale, lower the chest, lower the hands. Inhale, push up. Exhale, down dog or child's pose. Settle in for a few breaths. Again, just listening to your breath. And next breath, knees to the floor. Exhale, right foot forward, grab your blocks. Inhale, push down, gaze forward. Exhale, lift, straighten through the arms, curl it in. Inhale, opening. Exhale, turning inward. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, knee to the floor. Exhale, walk the blocks forward, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Soften through your knees. Inhale, curl it up. Exhale, Tadasana. Pause, take a full breath in. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, blocks back, left foot back. Inhale, knee to the mat, gazing forward. Exhale, lift the knee, curl in. Inhale, knee down. Exhale, push the blocks away from you, curl it in. Inhale, knee down. Exhale, lift and curl. Inhale, knee down. Exhale, blocks to the side. Right knee meets the left. Inhale, hips back, hands glide forward. Exhale, just pause here. Inhale, rock forward to modified plank. Exhale and lower. Coming onto the forearms, inhale in Sphinx. Exhale, spinal roll. Inhale, open up. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Inhale, Sphinx. Exhale, chest down, palms to the mat. Inhale, push up. Exhale, down dog or child's pose, settle in. Once again, using these quiet, still places in our practice to really attune to the sounds within. So listening to the breath, listening to your heart. And next breath, inhale, knees to the mat. Exhale, Left foot forward, ankle underneath, blocks underneath the hands. Inhale, lift the chest, gaze straight forward. Exhale, lift the back knee, push into the blocks. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And now exhale, walk the blocks forward, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow forward. And softening your knees. Inhale, curl it up. Exhale, Tadasana. Take a full breath in. Exhale, palms together. Take another breath here. Next breath, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, move the blocks to the side. I'm just going to invite you to make your way back into your downward facing dog, however you need to get there. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then inhale, knees to the mat. Exhale, child's pose. Now this time in your child's pose, I'm going to invite you to come into any version of child's pose. So if it feels better to take the knees a little bit wider and let your torso drop between your knees, you can find that variation. Again, maybe a block underneath the forehead. Another variation I like for, again, kind of the embodiment of this turning in is to keep my knees together and bring forehead either to the floor or to a block and wrapping arms by the shins. However, if that does not feel great in your body, I want you to modify the posture in any way that feels good. Okay, if it doesn't feel good to have your head down on the ground, you can always come to Vajrasana, which is where I'm at right now, sitting on your heels, or even a block underneath your seat. Okay, so again, I want you to find what feels good at this time, or what allows you, maybe not necessarily feels good, but what allows you to really draw awareness inward. We're going to take one or two more breaths. If your mind has gotten caught up in a wave of thoughts, just redirect it back here. Coming back to presence. And then slowly rising to tabletop once again. So all fours. And from here, we're going to ground through the left hand. Inhale the right arm out or up, and then exhale, we'll thread the needle. So either right forearm to the ground, or right shoulder and right side of the head to the ground. And you can just keep your left hand on the ground, or you can extend it forward towards the front of your mat. Okay, so it's this kind of spiraling inward. And just taking several breaths here, breathing through the ribs.
And then from here, we're going to bring the left hand back underneath the left shoulder. Push into that left hand. Sweep the right arm out or up. And then lower that right hand to the mat. And then moving to the second side, I'll just flip it around here. Inhale, reach your left arm up. Exhale, left forearm to the ground, or left shoulder and left side of the head to the ground. Right hand again can stay on the ground, or maybe walking the hand towards the front of the mat. So I want you to, again, find what works for you to help with that kind of spiraling inward. And then just settling in. So I'm not going to be talking a lot. I'm obviously not talking as much as I often do or instructing as much as I do. Because again, this is really about drawing attention inward and listening. But it can be helpful to have those reminders of when we get lost in thought to keep returning. And that is what our intention is for this practice. Just keep coming back. Take one more breath. And then from here, we're going to root down through that right hand. Send your left arm out or up. And then exhale, left hand to the floor. Right? From here, we're going to come to a seated position. And taking the legs out in front of us, start to kind of work your sitting bones back behind you. Now, if you kind of notice right away that your hips are kind of behind the tailbone, okay, so we're here, you may want to grab like a blanket or a pillow to sit on so you can find a little bit more of this kind of anterior tilt of the pelvis. So we want to think about taking the tailbone back behind the hips, okay, and then from here, with the feet about hips width apart, go ahead and just slowly walk the hands forward. So this is not like this kind of effortful forward fold. This is more of like an effortless forward fold. So we want to just kind of find some ease and some release in this variation of our forward fold. So just really surrendering and softening into the posture. If it feels good to let the head drop, you can let the head drop. For some of us, maybe we take the block if our forehead is close enough to the ground, or you can even take that second block and just rest your forehead. So for some of us that feels good, for others not so much. So I want you to, again, just kind of explore, get curious, and then settle into the posture that works for you today. Okay, with, again, this intention of I am presencing myself here. I'm listening to my inner landscape. And I'm doing so with an open curiosity. So there's no judgment. Or if there is judgment, see if you can just kind of let that go. Just attuning to the pure sounds, the sensory experience within your own body. Just taking another breath. And then slowly rising to a nice tall seated position. Just take a moment here. And then we're going to just leave our feet at the top of our mats, but scoot forward on your mat and go ahead and lay down. And just taking a moment, feet flat on the floor, knees to the sky. You can bring your hands to your belly, or maybe you want to bring one hand to your heart, the other to your belly. Just really letting yourself settle. And then gently drawing your knees into your chest. We'll take a little, give ourselves a little hug here. We're going to keep the inner knees and thighs together, rolling to the left side of the body. So right knee is stacked on top of left knee. And then just slowly opening the chest towards the sky, maybe reaching the right arm towards the wall behind you. If that feels like a little too much, you can always bring your right hand behind your head. You don't have to open so deeply into the twist. So really listening to your body. And we can do that by, again, observing the breath. The breath becomes rigid. Right? If it's difficult to maintain smooth, steady breath, that soft, subtle sound in the back of the throat, that's a really good cue from the body that perhaps it's too much sensation. And so just easing off if that's what's happening, where you can find the fullness of your breath. And then from here, we're going to just slowly walk the feet back to the center of the mat. Just take a moment here. Reorient yourself on your mat if needed. And then we'll draw the knees in. And this time, rolling to the right side. Stack your left knee on top of your right. And then again, opening up here. And if it feels like too much, left hand can go behind the head. You also don't have to really open that much. So I want you to just find what is needed on this side of the body. Again, where can your breath stay full and smooth and steady and soft? Again, it's that soft internal sound. Ujjayi breath is not this very loud breath that everyone in the room can hear. It is this soft internal breath. And then slowly walking your feet back to the center of your mat. Taking a moment here. And then we'll draw the knees to the chest. And you can just stay right here. If plow, halasana, is in your practice and you want to take that, that can be a really great posture that again kind of embodies this turning inward. Otherwise, I want you just to stay here on your back, hugging your knees in. But if you want To take plow, you can bring your hands to your lower back. And your feet can just either find the floor behind you or they can just kind of hover above. So again, finding where you need to be. If you are in plow, just being mindful that you're just keeping your head centered. We're not turning the head side to side. Okay. We'll just take one or two more breaths. And then if you are in plow, just slowly start to lower your hips back down to the ground, bringing your feet back to the floor. And if you need to, you can kind of gently rock the knees side to side, or finding any other posture that you need in preparation for Shavasana, our final resting posture. And then just taking your time when you're ready to intentionally settle into that final resting pose. Now, for our traditional Shavasana, we can extend the legs, we can take the feet out a little wider, we can let the thighs roll open, palms to the sky. If you need some support, you could bring a pillow or bolster underneath your knees. Maybe you want to add layers, like add socks or a blanket, or maybe just kind of resting a folded blanket across your belly just to feel a little more grounded. And so really take your time to settle into that final posture, allowing the eyes to either close completely or again, if needed, you can just find a soft, still gaze. And as your body softens and surrenders into the support of the earth, we begin to really drop awareness underneath the fluctuations of mind and body, underneath any of the sounds, external or internal. Into that space of pure consciousness, pure awareness. Experiencing that union, that merging with the infinite. Even if it's just for a moment. And if we get pulled up into those waves of thought, feeling, sensation, see if you can drop back underneath again and again and let yourself rest here. Be here. In that calm, still center of your being.
Returning attention to the sound of your breath. Maybe the beating of your heart. And then to the space around you. Notice the sounds of the room that you're in. Really listening. And then bringing awareness to your body, beginning to invite some gentle movement back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. You can circle the wrists and ankles. Maybe a stretch is needed here. And when you're ready, roll gently to one side of your body. Just take a few moments on your side first. And then again, when you're ready, slowly and easefully making your way up to a comfortable seat. And just taking a moment here to intentionally root your sitting bones into the ground to feel that sense of earth, energy of earth beneath you, rising through the crown of your head. So finding that tall, aligned spine, soft, open heart, joining palms together in front of your heart. Taking just another moment here for stillness and presence. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. May the merit of this practice be to the liberation of all beings. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Hari Om. Thank you again. As always, if you liked this practice, I would be so grateful if you could hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, share this video with others that you think might enjoy it, and I hope to see you back for parts 2 and 3 of this series on Sankalpa. Take care, everyone.